WCCF Tech on X says it's a fatal security flaw with Sony's security systems. PlayStation Network accounts can allegedly be hacked even if protected by two-factor authorization and passkey, which is a massive yikes, except for when you dive into the story and find out how it gets hacked. It's like, well, yeah, still the person shouldn't be doing what they did for it to happen, but it still goes to show that Sony is extremely vulnerable. And how many times has this been that we've heard that the Sony network is very easy to get hacked and you can quickly lose access to your account in the snap of a finger? And before I even go into the story, we got Tim Sweeney from Epic Games who says, this underlying claim seems overstated. It's a social engineering attack against a particular human discretionary customer support process, the kind of process that can be updated if necessary in hours, not even days, which is very true. What he's talking about here is how the hack takes place, which we'll go to the official story. It's a fatal security flaw with Sony's security systems. PlayStation Network accounts can be hacked even if protected by two-factor authorization and passkey. And it got updated already. In the Promise Follow-up report, Numera's Nicholas Lelouch confirmed that the fatal security flaw with Sony's security systems lies in how the account ownership is verified. Hackers managed to hack the journalist's PlayStation network twice using a transaction number, which was asked as proof of account ownership, a number that was obtained via a screenshot shared by the account owner. So this screenshot, by the way, this is coming from a journal that says their PlayStation Network account was hacked. They posted a screenshot of their PlayStation Network with their purchases showing transaction numbers in one of their stories from back in the day on the internet. And someone just looked at that and was like, oh, I'll just call up Sony and say that it's my account and get access to it. Not the smartest thing in the world to do, but that's how it was hacked. The procedure is obviously flawed, and not only because no other data was requested to provide proof of ownership, but also because 3 consecutive requests related to the same account did not raise a suspicion. Hopefully, now that the issue has been raised, Sony will improve their support procedures to prevent yet another case of social engineering from becoming a massive security risk for users. So this is basically bypassing all security, two-factor authorization and everything else in place, codes to your phone, the authorization app and all that stuff, by simply calling in and saying, yeah, I lost my phone, but I do have an old email with a account transaction that I purchased from you guys. And then it's like, okay, bypass everything with that because you don't have access to that anymore. It does get to the chicken or the egg. Which one do you trust? How do you get access to your account if you do lose your phone in the future? So it is a security flaw that is able to be taken advantage of by the right people. This is the original story, PlayStation and Security, a match made in hell. Ain't that the truth? Following a major PlayStation Network crash 2011, which brought the network down for 23 days. I think that was Anonymous that did that, right? Users often encountered various issues, including account security concerns and prolonged downtime, sometimes caused by DDoS attacks. Judging from the new report, however, all these may pale in comparison to the possibility of an account being hacked, even with every security measure in place, including 2FA and passkey. Yesterday, Nicholas Lelouch, tech journalist at French publication Numerama, reported on X that their PlayStation Network account, protected with a passkey, had been hacked, and an unknown user was able to change the associated email and password and even spend money from a linked payment method. The story took a bizarre turn after Lelouch initially recovered the account through PlayStation support, only for the hacker to seize control a second time. In an ironic twist, Lelouch spent the evening communicating with the hacker, who reportedly detailed how their method bypasses modern security measures, which is probably the most insane part of the story, is that the guy that was hacking into the account got in touch with the guy who was hacking saying, yeah, I'm doing it. Here's how I'm doing it. No idea How? But somebody managed to change the email and password of my PlayStation FR account, even though it was protected by an access key. I've lost access to my account and they've taken money from me and I can no longer log in. Change your passwords. After 35 minutes of waiting, PlayStation customer service gave me back my account. The guy had changed everything: email, name, address, photo, description, languages. No idea how or why. He just paid to change the email. Continuing the investigation, that son of a bitch, DeRoll, deleted all my friends. Okay, madness. I managed to get in touch with the guy. I proposed to collaborate with him for an article. What even is this? Well, I confirmed to you that there is a huge security flaw at Sony, but I won't say anything today. Haha. It's going to make a super article thanks to my new hacker buddy who explains to me how he hacked me. I hope he's going to give me back my account now. Damn, if someone had told me I'd spend my evening chatting with a guy who hacked me. And this is the article that he posted. My PlayStation account was hacked, and he's going to talk about how he did it, which is explaining how in an old article that he posted basically information of an old purchase that this guy just looked up and contacted Sony with to do that. Back to the WCCF Tech article. While Nicholas Lelouch was promised an in-depth follow-up to the story, which will be added to this post once it's live, he summarized it, what we just went through, and Saved by Reset Era forums member. Reportedly, the hacker is taking advantage of a fatal security flaw with Sony security systems to hack PlayStation Network accounts, requiring only the associated email address, as they are apparently using internal tools. This, if true, is likely the core issue, as knowing a public email address shouldn't normally constitute a security risk. So this is before the follow-up came through, which is posted to this article here. A flaw in account reassignment. Sony makes it too easy to claim ownership of an account. I hacked your account using a transaction number you posted on a page, the hacker told me. Do you remember my call to customer service? They asked me for a number from an old invoice as proof of identity. Nothing else. That's what the hacker is doing over and over again. He claims to have coded an app to access Sony's servers, which is difficult to verify. I'm still waiting for a video, he promised. Most likely, the hacker is contacting Sony and has an automated script to steal accounts. All he has to say is, my Lel Nico account has been stolen. Here's a code from a 2020 invoice, and he can change my email address and access my personal data. And since Sony's customer service isn't very bright, they don't find it strange that 3 people are claiming the same account within 3 hours. Calling them won't do any good. He'll just come back every time. Furthermore, Sony's online customer service is incredibly impersonal. It's impossible to explain that I understand where the vulnerability comes from. The responses are just memorized, copy-pasted messages. Speaking to a manager is impossible. I was told, no, it's easy to imagine the hacker using the system. The chatbot doesn't verify anything because there's no humans working there. This is the problem with an AI world. It's the same issue you have when you're being a content creator or making videos on YouTube, and you have an issue with an upload, or it gets flagged or taken down, or you can't access your account. You cannot contact any actual human at YouTube. They'll tell you it's a human. They'll say, trust me, bro, we're totally human. But they aren't. They are never human unless you go through many, many loops and hoops, and maybe on the off chance eventually a big enough creator will reach out to them and contact them. The greater point being is this is the problem with the future of technology. AI taking over customer service is easily manipulated to destroy people. This is where they need actual humans working. It's the one place they try to cut back on costs. Unfortunately, it ends up boning the customers. One essential question remains: how do you obtain the invoice number? I plead guilty. It's my fault. In April 2023, I wrote an article about the annoying emails from Sony that I received every time I downloaded something. So it looks like he took the images down. Emails that were supposed to stop. In that article, I included a screenshot with an invoice number, which I thought was perfectly safe, since that information is useless on other platforms. The screenshot has since been deleted. Oh, well, there you go. The screenshot has since been deleted, but malicious individuals saved it and shared it somewhere. Fun fact, I remember a DM I received on X from a reader saying, "Watch out, your number is visible." These people seem to specialize in account theft. It's likely they're also searching hacked email accounts for transaction numbers. Since all it takes is a username and phone number for it to work, an account can be stolen an unlimited number of times. Sony has designed a system that is too easy to circumvent, which encourages hacking and shows no sign of self reflection. Each leak theoretically allows for the takeover of hundreds of PlayStation accounts without verification. So it goes into a whole bunch of information there. I'm not going to go any further because it looks like there's going to be more information, more numbers. But my goodness, I know it kind of goes without saying this should not happen to most people because most people have that thing inside their head called a brain where they're like, I probably shouldn't post a full receipt with numbers online, connecting it to myself. Hell, even if you don't connect it to yourself, just putting it out there. Always redact and make sure it's actually redacted where it can't be copy pasted. Because it's very important that anytime there's a number connected to something, that people can utilize that to gain access to your account by pretending, hey, I lost my phone, I don't have access, but I do have the information, I can prove it's me. So yeah, the guy was a complete moron. And it wouldn't typically happen to most people, but at the end of the day, it is still technically a security flaw with Sony that they need to unfortunately do more scrutiny, which is just going to be more hoops for people that are honestly trying to get their accounts back to jump through at the end of the day, which sucks. But if it comes at the cost of more security for everyone else, I'd like to think I'm on board with that. But damn, what what a wild story. Again, with Sony too, by the way, it always seems to be Sony. None of the other companies, I mean, yes, they do have their breaches and breaks and problems, but it always seems to be Sony that it falls back to with the most of them all the time with Sony PlayStation Network. It's very curious. But I'll leave that one there.